Have you ever felt that loneliness that just doesn't seem to make any sense? You spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week surrounded by people. You come home, your partner's there with the kids, dinner's ready. Or maybe there's a friend, or a roommate, or maybe just a cat. Something in the form of love waiting for you. Or maybe not. It doesn't seem to matter though, because no matter how many or how few there are waiting, you still feel alone, love deprived, isolated. I have felt that. I still feel that. Even when I was living with pets, brothers, sister, mom, dad, it didn't seem to matter. I still felt alone. You might think to yourself, how could you possibly felt alone? There's so much love to be had there. But I did. And I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. I have found a problem as well as a possible solution. There's a lot to be said, but right now I want to focus in on what it means to be a mom and what it means to care. The alienation and isolation are the problems that finds its roots in the family, and the solution can be found in abolition. I want to imagine a world where we can all mother each other, share in the labor that is necessary, so no one mother is having to take care of all of the labor themselves. Before I get too far, I want to make one thing abundantly clear. I am a mama's boy through and through. My mom has given up a lot to make sure that I had as good of an upbringing as she could have possibly created for me, and there's probably no amount of labor that I could put into her to get close to repaying her for all of that. But I've found that by listening to her and having conversations about love and helping both her and myself realize that care can come in many different shapes and sizes, those are all really great places to start mothering my own mother. And I think that's exactly how I'm going to repay her. I'd also like to take a second to say that what I'm talking about is nothing new. Family abolition has a long history of many different brilliant thinkers and writers. With this video, I'm very much learning in public. I don't want to claim to have all the answers, but rather start a conversation by discussing how our concept of the family inevitably leads to alienation and isolation, and then provide a different vision of the future than where we're headed. With that out of the way, I'm going to take a minute to define some words that I'm going to be using. They're probably words you already know, but I want to make sure I'm being specific in what I'm trying to say. The definition of a mother can be quite complex. A person can be any age, race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, and be a mom. Anyone that provides an ear to listen, or a shoulder to lean on, or a Tupperware container full of hamburger potato hot dish is a mother to me. A mother is more than someone who just loves and cares for their family. Ideally, that love and care radiates beyond and affects the community around the mother. I don't think one has to birth a child in order to be considered a mother, and I don't think one automatically becomes a mother just because they birth a child. The line between mother and comrade get very blurred for me sometimes. The brilliant thinker Sophie Lewis does a great job of exploring the idea and the history of the momrade in her work, Mothering Against Motherhood. I was thinking of the real momrads I have known, those other humans in my life who, in fact, helped reverse and heal the pain that she and my long-since divorced from her dad inflicted over the years by not mothering me in any significant way through my adolescence. The incredibly important part to being a momrad is the act of mothering, which brings me to my next definition. Mothering is a verb. It's an action that is inherently anti-capitalistic. It's the action of giving love and care, nurturing and helping someone. Mothering is what makes a comrade a momrad. Similar to the idea of being a mother without birthing a child, a mother by mothering is a comrade, but a comrade is not always a mother. By limiting who you mother, especially in the context of family, you are actively helping enforce the alienation that capitalism and family thrive on. The same alienation that makes you nostalgic for times when you weren't under the crushing weight of capitalism. We long for love and care. We have been disciplined to believe that the only place that it can be found unconditionally is in the family. In order for us to transcend capitalism, we have to start being momrads for each other. By mothering each other, we will be able to free ourselves from the alienation and isolation of the family. To get even more complex, I'm gonna define what I mean by family. I remember when I first heard about family abolition, I thought to myself, oh, this is about the families with like severe trauma going on. This isn't about my family after all. I grew up just fine. We all get defensive like that though, because the family, or lack thereof, is the very foundation of ourselves. It's what we, for better or worse, are made of. I really enjoy Sophie Lewis's interpretation of this reaction. Well, sure, it may be a disciplinary scarcity-based trauma machine, but it's my disciplinary scarcity-based trauma machine, and I don't know who I would be without it. As much as it might feel like it, we are not our families. I think we all know this, but it's important to remind ourselves. But is the family a disciplinary scarcity-based trauma machine? I think it might appear to be harsh, but I think it's close to what I think it means to be family. Scarcity-based being the most integral part, I believe. What exactly is a family so scarce on so commonly that it's almost universal? That's where my definition of family comes from. That scarcity. The family to me is the system that is purposely scarce on love and care. Deep down there's a part of you that's been hurt by the family because that's what it does. It's malicious in its rationing of love and care. My family has had a tight grip on me, even still to this day. I finally put my foot down this year with spending time with my family for the holidays. It was my first act of radical self-preservation. My relationship with my father is a strained one, and the holidays don't really make it any easier. I stayed home. I didn't attend the holiday festivities with my family. I wanted to be by myself. I heard about all the fun they got to have spending time with each other, and I felt bad. I wanted that love and care. Sophie Lewis in her book Abolish the Family says this: family can be, though it isn't necessarily, the heart of a heartless world. I suspect the religion of family revolves around this glowing hope that it will be. We are grasping at a chance of guaranteed belonging, trust, recognition, and fulfillment. When I tell you, this quote really had me like, the family is where we go for love, care, and mothering. It's where we retreat to when the outside world is too scary. Family is supposed to be that unconditional love that can never refuse you. But most of us know that's not true all the time, even most of the time. Hell, I would even say that's probably a rare occurrence. In Leo Tolstoy's 1877 novel, Anna Karenina, he has this to say on family. All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Ursula Guin brings up a great point in her work, All Happy Families, in reference to this quote. These happy families he speaks of so confidently in order to dismiss them all alike, where are they? I'm reminded of comparing stories with comrades about our pasts, and those of us with privilege are always quick to add, not everything was sunshine and rainbows though. As if it's not to rub in that we had some kind of luxury over each other. But I think it might even be deeper, more subconscious than that. For me, relating to my comrades about how difficult our past has been can almost be universally understood. And maybe that's just because we're all queer with daddy issues.
Hey, Daddy!
I kid, but also, I think that joke might add some more weight to the idea that all unhappy families are alike, each happy in its own way. My comrades and I are basically all queers with daddy issues because the family deprives us of care, typically at the hands of the patriarch. But the patriarch and the mother are not intentionally withholding love and care from their children. After all, they love them. So, what does the family gain from depriving its members? The members of the family longing for love and care, we start to believe that's the normal. If you have both parents, siblings, and pets, that should be enough. You're being greedy by asking for more. By keeping us isolated, we are made weaker, individualized, only capable of thinking about ourselves and the people we are assigned to. Thinking beyond the family means thinking about your friends, your communities, your neighbors, housed and unhoused. Isolation and alienation are vital to the survival of family. Indiscriminate love and care is direct action against the family. I don't think any role is more isolated and alienated from the community than the mother. The mother in the family handles the emotional and reproductive care, often unsupported and unappreciated. Mothers are expected to tend to the house, the kids, the husband, the pets, the gathering and preparing of the food, and so many other tasks, all for the sake of their family, which the members often take for granted. Michele, Barrett, and Mary McIntosh talk about this in their work, The Antisocial Family. All the same, but all in isolation. Even if she goes out to work, a woman must spend many hours on housework, and it is many hours of socially unrewarding work because it is not shared, it is unrelieved by companionship. Lately, we've seen a shift where fathers are encouraged to take on some more of those tasks as well, but that's more large in part to do with capitalism tightening its grip on the working class more than anything else. The mother can't just stay home and tend to all those things anymore. They're expected to go to work now and be their own boss. They're expected to bring in as much, but not more, than the father. The father has to offer some kind of accommodations if he wants to keep his family. After all, we're boss babes now. We get to be our own bosses. But the family isolates. Mothers can't ask for help, or else they do not slay. They are not boss babes, and they are failures of mothers. But we all need help. The reality that we live in makes it nearly impossible to do anything worthwhile on your own. We need each other. We need to be mothers for each other. We all need care and love, and lots of it. Many couples, especially heterosexual ones, like to talk about how they go through life together, and I think that can only be taken literally. Yes, you both live together, share food, bills, maybe some experiences, but I think in a lot of cases that might be where it ends. The mother is the one who trims the grass, leveling the path, removing as many obstructions as possible on the metaphor that is the path of life. The patriarch rarely looks beyond the ground in front of him, for it is his path to lead the family. Because his sight never leaves the ground, he can never see that the mother is ahead, tending to the path. He merely assumes that the mother is a few steps behind him with the children. Children get to walk through the metaphorical path in a way that is much more like the game Red Light, Green Light. They get to run around and play and enjoy life as anti-capitalist-y as possible. Until they get noticed by the parents, and then they get told to get to the back, behind the patriarch, following in his footsteps. We are disciplined to think that family is the only solution. The isolation is vital to the survival of family. We all long for those days when we were allowed to look around the world like we were children. That's why nostalgia is so prevalent and invasive. We want to be free rather than walking with our heads down or pruning the trees, or both at the same time. But the only time we have ever felt that unconditional love and support was when we were with our family. So we work hard to get back to that idea of family in hopes that we will be able to make it better than our parents made for us. We always swear we won't do what wrongs our parents did. But the entire foundation of family is not stable. The family is purposely scarce on love and care, leaving us nostalgic, alienated, and isolated. What we long for is love, care, and mothering. The family has short supply, limited flavors, and there is no returns or refunds. In fact, I would argue that the family offers mothering only to everyone but the mothers themselves. At the mother's expense, the mother can only hope that they can provide that free feeling to their children and live vicariously through them. Your family are the ones that you turn to when you need help, but what are you supposed to do when your families are the ones that you need help against? There's not really many, if any, options. For me, I suffered until I found a series of chosen families, as I thought of them. Friends who I hung out with every second of every day that I possibly could. I was desperate for that love and care. I found it, and I stuck with them for as long as I could. But as we're all aware, time changes, relationships change, people grow, and I did as well. I would find new groups where I would feel love and care, and I would sink my roots into them. Care, love, and mothering for them as much as I could, and in some cases receiving that love back. All while this was happening, I still had my family back at home, and I would at least spend a couple nights a week with them. But I realized that's what makes me one of the really lucky ones, and to me, that's a problem. If my experiences were already so hard for me and I'm considered one of the lucky ones, doesn't that want to make you imagine something better? Something where lucky means finding a shiny Pokemon, not being one of the few that has both parents, siblings, and pets? My imagination leads to a place of community, one where I have relationships of varying degrees, some sexual and some not. Relationships built on mothering and comradeliness for the sake of all, not just a pre-selected few. A place where we can all cook, create, play, grow, eat, and thrive together. A place that doesn't rely on capital to innovate, but rather for the good of all, including the planet itself. This is something we would all have to work towards and mother each other along the way, because it is going to be incredibly hard work. It will require us to love, care, teach, and grow together. An open door where no one person is forced to stay and anyone is free to enter. I had found something out there that had already encapsulated essentially that. Teresa Ebert describes Red Love as the struggle to build free and equal relations of love, sexuality, and comradeship in which desire is neither simply sexual nor exclusive, but involves a solidarity of multiple connections and interrelations to others as well as to the work and welfare of the collective. When I first read this, I finally had felt seen. Nothing had ever come close to describing what I had been longing for. A love that is bountiful, diverse, boundless, and community-driven. Something beyond just one single partner with some kids and a pet, though my mom would certainly be a part of my community. I long for love and care for myself, my comrades, and my mom especially. We have the potential to create something that transcends everything we have ever dreamed possible. Let's start to move beyond the capitalist working machine that is the family and start creating communities of comrades who take care of each other. I believe that it is not only possible, but it is necessary for our survival. The world is way too hard to go through it all by yourself. We are so deserving of love and care, and we can give that to each other. We can mother each other. Let's imagine together what life beyond the family could look like. A collective that indiscriminately takes care of one another, making food together, taking care of the same space together, growing together. A public kitchen would be a great place to start, in my opinion, because I love to eat, and because I think there's no better way to show love than a tater tot hot dish. A place to feed the community is just the beginning, though. Emmy O'Brien shows us some examples in her work Communizing Care. These communes could consolidate within them collective reproductive services including childcare and education, collective laundry, apartment cleaning, canteen food cooking and serving, repair and maintenance of household goods, mental health and regular medical care, and group entertainment activities. The list really only ends as soon as our imagination does. Let's be kids again and imagine a world not just worth living in, but one that we can all thrive in. Take care of each other, love each other, and don't forget to mother each other.